me in the Muni, where the party at? Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy, we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Let's go. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps. Hand for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Stand up. Here we go, brownies. Let's go.
Cleveland! This is for you! This is for you!
Mr. Hero's turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery, coming at you live from San Diego, California. And with me, as always, we've got Dustin out in Cleveland. Real quick, guys, you just heard our beautiful jingle from Mr. Hero. If you haven't already, get the app. You can get buy one, get one offers just for signing up. You can order your food from the app. There's a lot of great rewards and deals through that. So please be sure to check out our friends over at Mr. Hero. Dustin, how's it going?
Well, it's a slow news day for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, we always talk about, the Browns give us a lot to talk about. And I'm sitting here today, as she knows, I forgot it was our Tuesday show because she was traveling into Wednesday. So, we're not on our normal Wednesday. And I'm like, what the hell is on my phone right now breaking into the Bengals? What are we doing? And then I was like, kind of makes sense. You got a Joe Burrow that is not coming back. Maybe they think they can get their own Flacco magic like the Browns had in 2023. God knows they have wide receivers that he can throw to. They got two great wide receivers, and maybe he can just fill the gap. It's not a crazy thing. I mean, it's not crazy. It is a little crazy to do it interdivision, but we get a 5th-round pick. I thought that was pretty good. And boy, I think the seat gets a little hotter for Sanders. I think I am full belief now that Sanders is going to hotter. No, I mean the seat. I mean, he's going to be warmed up. I mean, we are now. I mean, I think wrong context, but what I'm saying is, I think he is going to see the field. And I told everybody in the building today, I think I could see him as soon as the break, the bye week. I think he could see Sanders that soon.
I mean, tough to tell. We just had a pretty good performance from Dylan Gabriel, and I think certainly you're going to be able to see both of these young guys, and that's what we've been talking about. This is what you want. Look, you've got 2 first-round picks next year. You're going to need to know what you have in these 2 guys. So it's probably to no surprise, really, that Joe Flacco is done in Cleveland. I didn't think this was going to happen. Look, I've been surprised before. I've been shocked by this team. I have been flabbergasted by this team. But this was a new one. This is not something that I at all expected. I'm at a conference here in San Diego, and as you can see, we're on a Tuesday, and I'm not in my normal studio setup, but David texts me, and he's like, hey, the Browns just made a trade. And I was like, oh, God, what could that be? Because I just always get a little bit nervous. When the Browns are involved in a trade, I'm a little bit nervous. And he said it's quarterback. So I was like, what? We traded for a quarterback? He's like, no, not quite. And I said, okay, so we traded a quarterback. So I just kind of thought it was Shador. I'm like, oh, God, they traded Shador. He's going to go on and win 20 Super Bowls with whatever team. And no, surprise, it was Joe Flacco. I want to talk about how and maybe why this makes sense or doesn't make sense for both teams. Look, I think if you're the Bengals, you still have playoff hopes and aspirations there. You mentioned the 2 receivers that they have. They got a really good running back. But one thing that they don't have is a good offensive line. In fact, I think it's a horrible offensive line. we saw what this offensive line has done for Joe Burrow. Now you're putting a 40-year-old Joe Flacco behind that same line. As Browns fans know, he's kind of a statue. He really kind of second guesses some throws and doesn't make those immediate quick decisions like maybe he did a couple of years ago. So putting him behind that offensive line, that is terrifying if you're Joe Flacco, I would guess. So does it make sense for the Bengals? I think that I'm just surprised that they maybe didn't make some phone calls to some other teams with other backups. I'm surprised that it's Joe Flacco. I'm not surprised that the Bengals made a trade for a quarterback. I'm just surprised that they traded with the Cleveland Browns for Joe Flacco. That's my surprise.
Yeah, and for me, I guess if I'm in the front office of the Bengals, I see a guy that just got benched in Joe Flacco. They're like, okay, they're not moving. I think two things may have happened. You could have had a Joe Flacco in a situation where he went to the front office and said, hey, if any team calls, if there was any interest, I still believe I'm a starter in this league. Because Joe Flacco is pretty prideful in that situation, and he wants to be a starter, and he's not been shy about that ever in the last few years. Because, he's got a hell of an arm. He's 40 years old. Let's just call it for what it is, right? His arm strength has never been questioned. So I think then you have a team, and I don't know if the Bengals do this, and where I'm going to go with this. If the Browns are not 1-4, and if the Ravens aren't 1-4, I don't know if the Bengals call and say, hey, I think we got a shot to catch this division, because they do now, because I think they really do with two teams that are 1-4 that have lost division games. They're in that kind of middle of we really don't know what the Steelers are going to be yet. I think they're a little better than their record. And I think they said, look, we've got great wide receivers. If Joe can just get the ball to him like he did to the Browns, like Flacco in 2023, maybe we can get a little bit of that magic, because guess what? We just need him for like 6 games because Joe Burrow's coming back mid-December. So we got a shot here of a 6-week window. Man, can we get lightning in a bottle and maybe not have him throw picks? And if we can keep him upright for 6 weeks, we might have something here. And I think they just kind of rolled the dice. I think they just said, look, we've got a short window. Let's go try. They have nothing to lose, right? But they are a little desperate. And to your point, yes, I am surprised they didn't make other calls to other teams, but then maybe they did, and somebody said, no, we're good. We're keeping our guys,
Like for example, maybe what about bringing Andy Dalton home? I think that makes a little bit more sense for them. Or you're calling the Giants for Jameis Winston. There's a handful of guys out there that,
right,
maybe makes sense. I'm just surprised. It was just not something I had expected at all whatsoever in any capacity. So that was fun today. So what does this mean for the Browns? This makes sense for the Browns. I think that it does, because like I just said a minute ago, you've got 2 first-round picks next year. And if you're going to, whether you are or are not going to take a quarterback next year, you need to figure out what you have in Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. Hopefully 100%. One of those guys is the guy. You get him either at a 3rd-round pick or a 5th-round pick or whatever the situation is, and you figured it out. Beautiful. And then you can go get 2 great players next year in the 1st round. Or neither of them is the guy. You got to go get somebody. But you would not know one way or another with Joe Flacco as the starter. So this makes sense. And I agree with you. I think we are going to see Shedeur Sanders at some point this season. I don't know when. We saw Dylan Gabriel this past Sunday. Pretty good. It was fine. I'm excited to see more out of both of these guys. So I think this does make sense for the Browns, and it's good that you get something for Joe. You get a better pick than where you previously. So it's not nothing. It's not a glamorous, great pick, but it could turn into something, and I think that's worthwhile. So that just wasn't what I expected to talk about today. I was ready to talk about the game and looking ahead to the Steelers, and then nope, I'm in San Diego, and Joe Flacco is a Bengal.
Well, yeah, and I guess we can transition in a little bit now to Dylan Gabriel and what we saw from Dylan Gabriel on Sunday. Ray and I talked about this on Sunday's post-game show, but Dylan was everything I thought Dylan Gabriel was going to be. He was a good game manager. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't take high risks, and he managed the game. I think I gave him a B. I gave him a B in his performance, and I thought he did he did decent, and I think maybe even a little better. And I even told people, I was like, no, dude, you know how much he's played in college? Like, this is not going to be like hard for him. He's seen a lot of defenses and disguises and all those things. And like, I think he'll be fine. And he was fine. We can get into the whole coaching and what happened in the last 6 minutes of this football game. But yeah, Dylan Gabriel, I'm excited to see what he has. Truthfully, I think there is a ceiling to Dylan Gabriel. I don't know how much more that ceiling goes up because we have seen, what he can do. Sanders, I don't even know what to see from Sanders. And what I mean by that is he hasn't been with the ones or the twos in that situation. So that's a whole other animal that we haven't even been able to discover or see firsthand with a David Njoku or any of those guys because he just hasn't been with them. So I don't know what that is even going to look like for the Cleveland Browns later on this season, if and when that does happen.
Yeah, there's no way to know. Really small sample size. Sure, we saw him in a preseason, half of a preseason game. That looks good. The next half, not so good. That's all we have. So I don't think it's crazy.
Not a lot. Yeah.
No, not a lot. And same with Dylan. We've seen him in one NFL game. I'm eager to see more and to see, once we're able to, this coaching staff, if they're still around, is able to kind of, just give him more and what that looks like for Dylan Gabriel, because you mentioned that he's played a ton of college football. He's very experienced. He's seen a lot. He's experienced a lot. And I don't think that this is too tall of a task for him. But you've got to have better play out of your entire team, right? I thought Dylan was solid. He was what you really would want as a kind of a point guard distributor of the football. Mm-hmm. But just continued tough season for Jerry Jeudy. You've got to be better in that regard. I thought David Njoku had a good game, obviously. Quinshon Judkins had a great game. Excited to see that an extension of his run game and how it continues to go. Defense, I thought was good in some parts, bad in others. But that's going to happen. You're going to have bad games. So I'm excited to see how this team responds. You traveled all the way to London for this. Excited to get them back in the United States, see what this looks like with these two young guys. I think if you are, whether you're a Shedeur Sanders fan or a Dylan Gabriel fan, or even just a fan of the Cleveland Browns, this is somewhat exciting news to know that you are going to see reps from these young guys, to know if we've got the guy. That's really all we're rooting for, right, as Browns fans, is to have a quarterback, a solid quarterback for a while, for a long time, that can go win you games, because he is able to elevate those around him and make them better, but is also able to just go freaking win a game with his arm. So we're excited to see that. Hopefully we can. So maybe this provides some clarity. So kind of exciting, just unexpected. That's kind of my thing. I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't expecting this at all. So there you go.
When you're looking for show content and it just hands you right here on a platter, you just take it and you go with it.
Yeah, there it is.
Can we? I would like to address this because I know this is right in your wheelhouse, Allie. The Cleveland Browns offense is dismal, and I guess where I've seen some stats rolled around, where this stretch of the Cleveland Browns offense hasn't stunk, and I mean it stinks to high heaven, going back to the mid-'70s. And that's even – we're talking the 0-16. We were scoring more points than then. Like, think about that, Cleveland Browns fans. The worst of the worst seasons, we scored more points. How the hell do you fix this, Allie? You got Tommy Rees. You got Kevin Stefanski, supposed to be an offensive guy, an innovator of play calling, and – we can't get 20 points on the board. What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, I really like your intake on this, because it's just, this is crazy to me. Like, there's just, and granted, I'll be the first to admit our offenses, we don't have, the greatest. We have playmakers, but not like compared to other teams, but I just don't see the innovation. So take it away.
No, I'm so glad that you used that word, because that's actually something that I have in my notes to talk about this. So when the Browns brought in Kevin Stefanski in 2020, I think that Kevin was a little bit ahead of his time. Now we see the world as it stands today with AI and innovation and how to essentially streamline everything in whether that's your personal life, professional life, what it looks like. And I think he was a little bit ahead of his time with his analytics. Do you remember that conversation of football guys versus analytics? And, you kind of had this battle. Now, I've always been a fan of certain analytics and being able to use that information to better your team. And I think in 2020, 2021, we saw that. He was able to scheme guys open. This offense made sense. There were layers to it and really a marriage between the pass and the run. And we have gotten so far away from that because, I think he was a little bit ahead of his time. He was innovative at the time before the rest of the league figured that out. Now that the rest of the league has figured it out, we're kind of the odd ones, the ones on the outside looking in. So I think, if you use AI in your day-to-day, which I do for work constantly.
As do I. Yeah.
And if it's all about prompting, right? And if you don't give AI a good prompt, it's not going to give you a good product. So it's almost to me like this team, this organization is just stale in what they're putting into their prompt, if you will, and they're getting crap out of it. And offensively, I think there's so many layers to this. It's not one thing or another. I think you've had consistently bad quarterback play. When you have consistently bad quarterback play, you can't do anything. You can't score points. You cannot move the ball. You can't do anything. It's deflating and defeating, especially when you've got a world-class defense. On that same note, when you've got a bad and aging offensive line, that is seriously going to put you at a disadvantage. Now, we've got good guys on this team. We've got Ethan Postic. We have Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio. These are great guys. Jack Conklin.
He was back. He was back in this game. Right?
Yeah, and there's good pieces here. But when you lose Bill Callahan and you lose a leader in that room, and this is an aging line, and then you battle injury, maybe a couple of misses on some draft, does take a toll. It really does. Similarly, if we take it a step further and you look at our skill position players, you lose Nick Chubb. That was detrimental. That really sucked. Lost part of our identity. You bring in Quinshawn, had some hiccups bringing him in. Got an older David Njoku, who maybe can't do some of the things that he could earlier on in his career. And you also have wide receivers that can't catch the ball. All of that to say that equals a bad offense. That's a bad offense. You can't put those things together and expect a good result. And it all starts and ends with quarterback. Now, I'm also pointing my finger here at Kevin Stefanski. If you continuously use AI and analytically driven models to figure out what you want to be offensively, you're losing creativity and focus and innovation. And that's clearly what this team needs. So it's a tough offense to watch. But there are several reasons and factors as to why. And I think that just all of that to say, you've got to get the quarterback right. You have to get the quarterback right. They're clearly going to have an issue with maybe next year figuring out what the play calling situation looks like or the coaching staff looks like. Well, that's maybe a conversation for another day. We need to figure out quarterback. And I think today they took a step in that direction.
Yeah, for me, a couple of things stood out because, when your teams are bad, the little things start to kind of magnify. They come to light. So a couple of things. Again, back to the 17, 18, 20. I mean, we just can't get to that threshold of points. And then I see little things, and this is where I'm like, what are we doing? And it's the very end of the game. And I don't know if you remember this, Allie, but at the very end of that game, there's 25 seconds left. And do you remember when Dylan Gabriel throws that ball to midfield? Do you know what our wide receiver does? He gets up, Allie, and goes down and does one of these. First down and does a little one of these. You just lost 5 to 7 seconds on the clock. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to take that football, go set it on the ground, get that offense, because that could be one or two throws into the end zone for a Hail Mary. I'm like, it's those little things, what are we doing, out there? You know what I mean? Those things just come up, and you're like, why are we saying, okay, no shit, you got a first down. You get through at 25 yards. Now hurry up, and you got 12 seconds left. I'm like, it's those little things that are just driving me insane. I think when we look at Kevin Stefanski say one more time, we got to do better, I'm going to write him a book. We got to do better. Well, yeah, of course we do. We're scoring 17 points, 13. I mean, we're averaging 14 points a game.
Yeah, that's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. That's not sufficient. That's not even close to good. It sucks. I hear you. It sucks. This is not fun. This has not been a fun stretch at all for this team. It's not been fun as a fan. And I'm very eager to get back to that. I think that's all any of us want, is to just have good football and maybe go win a couple, because you're just the better team. And when you have a defense the way that you do, and you have kind of a good enough offense, or so we think, like, you should be in some of these games, and we have been in some of these games. But when it comes down to a couple of things here and there, sure, I understand you're going to win some and you're going to lose some, but so often we're saying, wow, if they would have just did this one thing right, or maybe a couple of things here and there, they'd come away with a win. Well, that's coaching, right? That's coaching, is to do those little things better. And it's kind of like the 2 millimeter rule. If you do something very, very small, you change a couple of things here, it's going to have drastic impacts. Yes. Yeah. So Kevin Stefanski's had a pretty undisciplined team for a lot of his tenure in Cleveland, but some of it his fault, some of it not. But I think something's got to give. And I do see both sides to this. And I just want to remind everybody, about maybe the firing in season kind of thing. Just a reminder as to where we were just a few years ago with Freddie Kitchens, Hugh Jackson, and the absolute clown show that was. If Kevin Stefanski is anything, we can call him boring. We can call him, just completely not creative, stale offensive mind. We can call him all of those things. But one thing that we can recognize is he is a professional, and, can kind of roll out of this with some grace. So I think that is one highlight, that it's not a complete and utter just clown show. I mean, it is. It is, as a fan. But also, if you want to maintain some of the guys that are on this team, if you are going to have these conversations about separating from maybe part of this front office or coaching staff, I think we need to make sure that we are giving a little bit of grace here and making sure that this is done the right way, because we've seen it done the wrong way and it has detrimental effects.
Yeah, it just sets you back as a franchise. It just does. Stability. Now, and I'm not saying you should leave something cooking till it boils over and it just isn't good anymore, right? It's just you burn it. But it
sucks.
Well, this is just a weird situation, right? Because I mean, I can't imagine being a coach that is handed a quarterback on a $250 million contract that just can't find a way to win, right? He can't win. He's lost. He just doesn't look like the same guy. He's a shadow of himself. And then you're given 7 other quarterbacks to try to figure it out, and none of them are the right fit, right? Like, you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and it's like, well, that guy ain't it. No, that guy sucks too. And you're just like one-offing all these quarterbacks. And to your point, to get back to the quarterback situation, I really want to know what today's trade was. That ownership getting involved? Was that more Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski saying, hey, we need to see these guys, or collectively? Because as a whole, this organization has taken responsibility as a whole for the Deshaun Watson trade. The owner came out this summer and obviously owned it, and after a long time said all those things, as well as the coach. He said, we're all in this together. This was our decision. It just makes me wonder kind of where we're at. Did we bring back Myles Garrett to trade Joe? I did the numbers. Joe Flacco has not played a full season in Cleveland. He was here for X amount of games at the end of 2023, and he was here for literally 5 games. And he's gone. He wasn't even here for a full season. And then you throw all the quarterbacks in there that 2023 season that we went through. And it's just like, you're right. They've got to figure out the situation at quarterback. And quite frankly, for me, Allie, I'm kind of just fed up. I'm tired of oh no, we're all in on 2026 and finding another quarterback. Why? Why are we in on 2026? Because if he's not there, we're doing it in 2027 and we're doing it in 2028. It's like a broken record that just keeps repeating itself.
Kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You have to. We're hopeful that one of these two guys, whether it's Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, is the answer, and That's it. This is the end of it. We're good. But if not, you do have 2 first-round picks next year. You got to hit. You got to hit. You don't have a choice. So
now, I will say that Andrew Berry nailed this draft. I mean, we can say about some of his draft picks that have went away, but man, he rolled the dice this year, and every time he rolled the right dice this year. I mean, this is best
bias to that, but not in a bad way. And I don't, maybe this is a conversation for next time where it's like, okay, well, do we trust Andrew Berry to pick a quarterback? If that's what it comes down to, do we trust him to do that? I think, like we said, maybe that's a conversation for another day, but this is interesting. Nonetheless, some hope. Let's kind of set the negativity aside. I get it. We're tired. We're exhausted, but you've got two young quarterbacks that are ready to rock and roll, and I'm eager to see what this offense looks like with them. Dustin, real quick before
go ahead. I was just going to say, what probably just to end all that is, this team could very easily be 3-2. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, this team could really be a 3-2 football team based on the way they played this year. So,
yeah, that's true. Yep. Guys, I want to tell you about our friends over at We Bleed Ohio. If you're looking for some basketball, baseball, football apparel, or your official Here We Go Brownies podcast, hat, t-shirt, all of that good stuff, you can head on over to We Bleed Ohio. Also, City Barbecue. If you're looking for some lunch or dinner options, head on over to City Barbecue. They have award-winning sauces, meats, sides. They can cater your events. They can do all of those really cool things. Please be sure to check out our friends over at City Barbecue. And, of course, Stadium Mustard. Throw that on your City Barbecue. If you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchen, you're doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard, rich in both taste and tradition. It's loved by millions. Be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. We've got some medical things to talk about, so let's bring on the doctor. Real quick, a word from our friends over at Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Hello, welcome to Lorello Vineyards. Larry and Kim Lorello. We have a beautiful Here We Go Brownies wine that we would like to offer to you this season as we did last season. We have several other award-winning wines, lovely entertainment and events coming this summer. So come and see us, wine a bit, you'll feel better.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you at the Muni lot this fall. Go Browns.
All right, let's bring him on, the husband of the program, and Dr. David Ellery. Hi, David.
Hey, Ellie. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, David.
What's happening?
First and foremost, David, it was not the result I wanted, but I had a splendid time at Notre Dame this weekend. Class act, I'm just telling you, that was a very cool thing to take in. I'd never been there, so I didn't know what to expect. The university is beautiful. The tailgating was fun. All the way up to the press box, they had brown and orange, or blue and orange for the away team. So they had Boise State popcorn up there as to welcome. I'm like, this is college football, like, amazing. Now, I haven't been to an Ohio State experience, but David, hats off to your university. Class act, the athletic staff, all those folks were really nice. So
glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. David, what do you have? The medical moment brought to you by Lorello Vineyards. This is your moment. Take it away.
Not a whole lot. Fortunately, we didn't really see too many big injuries come out of the game this past Sunday. I think we talked about it kind of going into the week last week when Mike Hall didn't make the trip. That's the big kind of, I think, elephant in the room in terms of injuries is Mike Hall and when is he coming back. Right now, as of today, October 7th, he's listed as questionable. So I guess, we'll kind of see how things go tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday when it comes to practice. Updated during the show, actually, I refreshed it. Cornerback Amir Speed has been listed as out. I'm not super familiar with him ultimately, but just, some depth on the defense that isn't present. So always something that we have to keep an eye on. But overall, didn't have any big blows from the game itself, which is good. And then kind of looking at, are we getting returners? It's looking like we're like a quarter to a third of the way through the season. So I kind of like to give a little update based on like the IR and what we're looking at for players who are on the IR and whether they're returning or not. Just kind of looking at the IR, and this was based 2 days ago. We have Cedric Tillman, who's on the IR for his hamstring, eligible to return week 10. along with DeAndre Carter for the knee, eligible to return week 10 as well. DeJuan's out for the season. Martin Emerson, JOK, Justin Osborne, Anthony Kendall, Nathaniel Watson, and Cade McDonald all out for the season, as we know. And then David Bell and Winston Reed were the only two left on there who were eligible to return week 5. I don't believe either of which have returned yet. So, there's a couple more that are kind of at any point can get activated. Maybe we'll see somebody this week, maybe not. And then finally, one that I think is pretty relevant just to kind of the conversation today, Deshaun Watson is still on the PUP list. As we know, back on September 29th, about 2 weeks ago, he was not set to return to practice yet. With the PUP list, you get 4 weeks off, and then there's a 3-week window where you can be activated to return to practice. If you don't make it in that 3-week window, then you're placed on the season-ending IR. So, especially in the light of the quarterback movement today, you have to wonder: are we going to see him this season or not? So I don't know. We'll see kind of what happens in practice and just overall with roster moves in the next couple of weeks. But things are kind of stable from last week to this week, which is overall a good thing.
David, I want to add to that because I've heard some rumblings here in Cleveland from sources. Don't be surprised if you don't see Deshaun Watson soon. I found that intriguing. Based on what you see medically and some of the video that's out there, if that 3-week window opens, do you think there is a possibility health-wise that he could make the field based on what you see from your trained eye and what you're seeing from him?
I mean, certainly there's a possibility for that. We know it's a little complicated because of the second surgery. I have no idea what the tissue quality was like at that time and kind of what their thoughts were after the second surgery. But that was, way back 9 months ago now. And so we know just like an ACL, Achilles injuries, surgeries usually take anywhere from 9 months to like 14 months to really return and see kind of some field action. So certainly we know he's not returning this week or next week. And so we're looking at more like November if he were to return this year at the soonest, which puts him at 10 months from the injury, which I don't think is crazy. I think it's certainly earlier than average and what we usually see, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that he is able to like get activated and show up and play this season at some point.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. It is crazy and it's interesting. David, I just want to talk to you about what happened today. You texted me and said trade, and I was on the conference floor talking to people about my real job, and I didn't know what to expect. You told me about the Joe Flacco trade. Your thoughts on this?
I'm surprised by it. I think we all knew the writing was on the wall with Joe and his time as a starter in Cleveland, but that doesn't mean he isn't a good backup and a good option to have as a backup, because right now the options are 2 rookies and a practice squad quarterback in Bailey Zappi. There's not a lot of veteran experience there. And at the end of the day, we know in the quarterback room and just in the NFL in general, veteran experience is very important and helps with player development and just kind of leading this team. And now we have, a guy who played college football for, how many, 6-7 years, who's leading the team. But I'm just surprised by it. One, just getting rid of him in general. Now we know he's kind of openly said he's not really looking to mentor and he doesn't want to ride the bench, and it's probably his last season playing. So I understand him wanting to go somewhere where maybe he's needed. But it's very strange for the Browns to be willing to trade to a divisional opponent who they play in week 18. Not saying that Joe Burrow won't be back by then, but if Joe Burrow isn't back by then and Joe Flacco's playing, it's a very game, and there could be some pretty devastating outcomes depending on what happens and what the playoff race looks like. So I think it's actually, I saw the first time that the Ohio rivals have ever traded with each other. So just a lot of kind of interesting things regarding the move, and I don't fully understand it, but it tells me that there is something else in place, something else in the works that we just aren't aware of yet. Whether that is Deshaun coming back sooner than expected or another veteran presence somehow coming about just to serve as some leadership and good backup in that quarterback room.
Yeah, if somebody told me that Joe Flacco would play on the Browns, and the Bengals in his career, I think people are like, well, you're crazy. Like that's a division quarterback that won a Super Bowl. He's not going to be playing on any of those other division teams. And yeah, the only team he's not played for now is the Steelers. It's kind of crazy, like that. Joe Flacco is literally played. I like that, Allie. Not yet. No, they've got an old quarterback over there that, Allie, we talked about this. I'm like, man, Aaron Rodgers on that Steelers team could be a playoff team, and it's kind of looking that way, unfortunately. So
it's kind of looking that way. Speaking of the Steelers, this is the matchup that we're looking ahead to. I want to go around the room, do some keys to a victory. David, let me start with you on this one. How do the Browns win this game?
All right, so my keys to victory here, I got one for each side of the ball. I think defense needs to hold Aaron Rodgers under 200 yards passing. So in the Browns' one win this year against the Packers, I think Jordan Love was like 180, 190. And in the Steelers' one loss this season, Aaron Rodgers was under 200 yards passing. So I think that's a key number in terms of off or defensive efficiency for the Browns to be able to hold him under 200 yards passing total. And then on the flip side, I've got Quinshon for at least 80 yards rushing. He's very clearly the bell cow, the number one running back against the Packers. Again, he had over 90 rushing yards. And so if he can get close to that 100-yard number again and really get the ground game going and then adding in carries from Jerome Ford to get the team for over 100 rushing total, I think that's an important factor. So I think keeping Aaron Rodgers under 200 yards passing and Quinshon getting at least 80 yards rushing will both be two big pieces to getting a victory. And now while I say that, you look at what happened last week, and it's hard to really know what the keys to victory are because you would look at it on paper besides the score and think, hey, the Browns definitely won this game. And they didn't. So that's at least what I've got for this week.
Yep.
Dustin, what do you got? Give me your keys.
So for me, I think Myles Garrett needs to, as he put in his press conference this summer, put Aaron Rodgers in the graveyard. I think he needs to have a 2 or 3 sack kind of game where he literally says, I'm going to take over this game. I'm going to own Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be a tombstone in my Halloween decorations for Halloween on October 31st. I think that needs to happen. Second, David, I didn't realize that. That's an interesting point about the 200 yards or less. But I think the Browns need to win the turnover battle. Like if they can create 2 turnovers in this game, I think that's going to be the key number for me, 2 turnovers and win the turnover battle. And then secondly, I think the Cleveland Browns can't give up more than 14 points in this game because they've proven to me that they can't score more than 17 points. So if the defense only gives up 2 touchdowns, I think they actually have a shot in this game to win another 20, 18. I'm just throwing some really low, stupid numbers out, but like 19-14. I do think it'll be a lower scoring game. So yeah, I think the defense can't give up more than 2 touchdowns in this game to win the game because they get 3. I just think it's as crazy as that is. I think it's out of reach.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm kind of lagging here a little bit. I think I'm kicking back on. Am I okay? Can you hear me?
You're good.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. You're good.
Okay. All right. No?
Yep.
All right, you're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
So for me, keys to a victory here, and David, this kind of falls in line with what you were saying, but it's also kind of an extension of the Aaron Rodgers keeping him under 200 passing yards. If you look at what in their one loss against who was this against? But anyways, limiting DK Metcalf. So in their one loss, he only had 20 receiving yards. So he is their number one threat. Being able to limit him, my initial key was keeping him under 40 receiving yards. That would be a win for us. But if you can keep him around the 20, 25 yard range, I think you come away victorious, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, offensively, I think being able to just play smart football with Dylan Gabriel. Look, this is his second start, really relying on the run game. David, you mentioned Quinshon for 100 or 80 or something like that. I like him for 100 with rushing and receiving. He's a great option. I'd put money on it. So those are my keys. But again, you've got to be able to score points to win this game. That's just the recipe for a win in the National Football League at all.
Yeah, I was
okay, I don't think you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. No, you're good. We heard everything you just said, 100%.
And I did see that about DK too, being under 20 yards in their loss. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you look at Vegas,
Very
I know
important.
you were just talking about Vegas odds, Allie. I mean, the Steelers are favored by 4.5. So this smells of a one possession win, right? Like whoever kind of can show their might in this football game is going to win this football game. I mean, 4.5. I mean, that's kind of giving the field goal to the team and adding an extra 1.5 for Vegas. I think this will be a close game. It's a division game, but it's going to be. I think it'll be a good game. I think it will be.
David, why don't you tell our listeners about Greater Cleveland Aquarium? No, Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about Greater Cleveland Aquarium?
Greater Cleveland Aquarium, guys. If you haven't been there, check it out. Been down there in the Shark Tank. By the way, also right next to Greater Cleveland Aquarium down there, we have our fun Lady Caroline boat trip coming. That's right. Our boat trip will be October 18th. Join us from noon to 2. We have Southern Tier Brewing will be there with Here We Go Brownies Brown Ale. Also, we'll have Lake Erie Distillery, Burning River Whiskey, Dill Pickle Vodka, and, of course, Larry Lorello and Lorello Vineyards wonderful wines. But also Browns legend, 5-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl winner, Greg Pruitt, Browns running back, is going to join us along with Ben Davis and some other alumni. So we've added that. By the way, the food, I mean, it's going to be like ribs. It's going to be like a tailgate style. So that's going to be really exciting, doing a tailgate style DJ, yacht rock DJ and doing all that. Just knock on wood, the weather is good that day. It looks like it's going to be in the upper 60s. So it could be a lot worse. So
there you go. There you have it. David, before you hop off, give me your score prediction in this game.
Ooh,
Browns, it's a rivalry game. It's a divisional matchup. The Browns are finally going to get back on the winning record in Pittsburgh. I think it's been since the playoff game there that they've not won.
I think it goes back. Oh, that's a good point. It goes back 20-some years since they've won there, right? It's a long time.
Besides the
playoff game. This is crazy.
So we're going 20 to 16 Browns.
20.
All right, Dustin, what do you got?
2016, David. Man, you're getting 20 points. All right. Browns win 17-10. 17-10 Browns.
Man, I don't know. I don't have the best feeling. Going in, your young quarterback at the second start. I hate, this is a Brown show, so like I hate to say Steelers in this one, but just we'll see. But I think it's gonna be low scoring. I do. Give me Browns still don't score more than 20 points, 17-14. Browns. Hey, real quick. We've got a Steelers fan, but he says that we have a great show. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thanks, Tanner. And you know what? That's cool because it's a good rivalry. This is fun. This is why we do it. So appreciate it. David, thanks for hopping on. We appreciate you. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
All right, that is Dr. David Ullery. Before we move on to the league, real quick, want to tell you about our friends over at Primetime Sports and Framing. Dustin, you can speak to this. They've got some great signings upcoming. They can frame your stuff. If you got some jerseys that you need framed, they can do that. They've got great auctions, great stuff over there at Primetime Sports and Framing. Yeah,
so you guys, you want to join us next? We'll be there live October 14th. Come see Quinshon Judkins, national champion and current Browns starting running back. He'll be there. And then, of course, you've got Kevin Mack. He'll also be there, 6 to 7 p.m. And then that Saturday, Cavaliers legend Austin Carr will be there. And then Eric Metcalf, by the way, will be there from 1 to 2. And then JOK will be there from 2 to 3. So a lot of big signings next week, Tuesday and Saturday. And I don't know if you saw, Ali, Eric is a finalist for the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's actually quite a list of friends that we know that are alumni that are making that list. Josh Cribbs is on it. There's quite a few Browns. Clay Matthews is on it. There's quite a few Browns on that 2026 initial list. So, knock on wood, we can get one in. So,
cool. All right. Also, just real quick before we go around the league, I want to tell you about our friend Crystal John Tony. If you are buying or selling real estate, or maybe you're investing or you're wanting to rent, you just have some questions, give her a call. You can give her a call at 216-215-6663. She's our good friend Crystal John Tony with eXp Realty. Give her a call. All right, let's go around the league, Dustin, pick some games. We're going to go rapid fire. I've got to wrap up here. So let's start by saying we tied last week. So I am up 2-0-1. So let's kick it off here. Thursday night football, Eagles at.
Go ahead.
Eagles or Giants?
Eagles, Giants. Eagles.
Eagles, yep, agreed. Broncos at Jets.
Broncos look good. Go Broncos.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, and this one, by the way, this is in Europe somewhere. So this is not even home field for the Jets. Seahawks at Jags.
Oh, man, this is Seahawks lost. We didn't even get into this, but Baker is our nightmare now.
Yeah.
Give me. I think I'm gonna get on the Jag train the way they played. Give me the Jags.
I agree, especially because the Seahawks are traveling across the country. I'll take the Jags on this one. Chargers at Dolphins.
Chargers figure it out. They bounce back after a couple of losses. They win in Miami. I agree. Rams at Ravens. I don't know what the hell's happened to the Ravens. They're just terrible. Give me the Ravens. I think the Ravens kind of have to figure. Well, yeah, give me the Ravens. Actually, they got to win a game here.
I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams in this matchup. Cardinals at Colts.
Colts are for real.
Yeah, Colts are for real. They are. It's crazy. Cowboys at Panthers.
Cowboys. Their offense looks pretty lethal right now.
They really do. Dak's playing great football. Patriots at Saints.
Kellen Moore got his first win. Excited about that. It was a good win. You know what? I'm saying he doubles down. He's got those guys believing. The Saints win back-to-back this week.
All right. I'm going to take the Patriots. Next up, Browns at Steelers.
Browns.
All right. I'll stick with it. Titans at Raiders.
I think the Raiders are pissed and they bounce back after getting blown out. Raiders.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think the Titans get 2 wins in a row. Niners at Bucks.
Baker is going to win the MVP. You heard it here first. Buccaneers.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. He's playing lights out. Give me the Bucks. Bengals at Packers.
Bengals at Packers.
So it depends on who starts. Like if Joe Flacco gets the start, I subscribe to new quarterback theory, but I don't know if that's the case or not. So just kind of from what I know,
but they've already seen him this year.
It doesn't matter. He's with a new team. So
no, but I'm saying they know his tendencies because they saw.
It doesn't matter. New quarterback theory is like with a new team. The first start of a quarterback with a new team. So I do subscribe to that, but we don't know if he's the starter or not. So because I don't know at this current moment, I'm going to go with the Packers. Lions at Chiefs.
I really do believe in the Lions. They're a really good football team, and I think the Chiefs are kind of lost right now.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I don't think that they lose 2 in a row. I don't think, although I think the Lions are legit. They really are. But I'm going to take the Chiefs because it's at home. Bills at Falcons.
Bills at Falcons. Bills.
And lastly, Bears at Commanders.
Commanders.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I've got the Rams. You've got the Ravens. I've got the Patriots. You've got the Saints. I have the Chiefs. You have the Lions.
So just 3, right? Just 3?
Just 3.
Just the 3. Okay.
All right, real quick, everybody. Before we wrap up, here's a quick word from our friends over at Mr. Hero.
SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down.
hero.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.